On the morning of our society wedding of the decade, the woman Adrian kept hidden in his heart slit her wrists. I clutched the hem of his tux. "Please, don't go." He pried my fingers off, one by one. "Stop it. Luna needs me now." I watched his back disappear down the aisle and laughed until my eyes burned crimson. "If you feel nothing, I'm done. Adrian, this time I'm the one throwing you away." Before we go any further, hit subscribe on this channel and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. The sky hung low and ash gray the day we buried Theodore. Half of Eastbrook showed up. Bess tugged my sleeve. "Adrian's here." A mocking smile curled my mouth. 1 full month since he'd left me at the altar, I'd assumed he'd dropped off the face of the earth. His low voice broke the hush. "Sorry I'm late." I turned slowly, lifted my hand, and cracked a ringing slap across his face in front of everyone. Adrian's head snapped sideways. "Serena, enough." I met his eyes with ice. "On your knees." The crowned prince of the Cross family, born to own the world, kneel? Never. He strode straight to Theodore's headstone and laid down the white lilies in his hand. "Theodore, I'll keep the promise I made." "Rest easy." A cold laugh tore out of me. "So you do remember what you swore to him?" The Vance and Cross clans had been allies for 3 generations, we'd grown up in each other's backyards. Everyone in the old money elite knew I'd loved Adrian down to my marrow, so hard I'd followed him to college abroad, then signed on as his executive assistant, until he finally called me his girlfriend. That he was also keeping a delicate little side flower had never been a secret. 3 months ago, Theodore took a turn for the worse. Adrian visited the hospital and struck a bargain at the foot of the bed: "Marry me, and the South Shore parcel would come to the marriage as my dowry." That priceless slice of coastline every developer in Connecticut was salivating over. Adrian nodded. He vowed to treat me well, to give me the society wedding of the decade. The moment he left, I collapsed at Theodore's bedside. "I won't marry, not now." "I'll stay with you till you're better." Theodore lifted a trembling hand to my hair. "Once I'm gone, only he can shield you. Let me die in peace, be happy." My parents had died in a mid-air collision when I was 5, Theodore raised me. When he passed, the conglomerate and the fortune would drop me naked into a shark tank. Adrian was his chosen shield, and would reap a fortune for the role. He assumed profit plus 20 years of shared memories would buy Adrian's loyalty. He'd misjudged. I stared at the man in front of me, midnight black suit, chiseled face, the same aloof nobility I once worshipped. The deeper the love had been, the darker the hate that replaced it. I was hollow with exhaustion. "Get lost. I never want to see you again." He caught my wrist and whispered against my ear, "When Luna's stable, I'll give you the wedding you deserve." It was so absurd I laughed out loud. Word by word I said, "Tell Luna I don't do second-hand. May she enjoy the salvage." Fury flashed in his eyes, he yanked me off balance. An arm locked around my waist and hauled me backward into a hard chest. "Mr. Cross, treat my wife with respect." Julian had arrived. I let my lashes fall and leaned into him. Adrian's face darkened. "Have you lost your mind?" Julian tilted my chin up with 2 fingers, flashing Adrian a predator's smile. "Look again, whose woman is she now?" He bent and kissed me. I closed my eyes. Adrian narrowed his gaze. "You're using him to punish me?" "It won't work, you know I hate games." He lifted a brow and beckoned, certain as ever. "Come here." He still believed I'd come running. How sweet privilege tastes. I stayed in Julian's arms. "You walked out, so I swapped grooms." 30 minutes before the ceremony, Luna's call came through. Adrian answered in front of me. I watched his expression chill, watched the tenderness creep into his eyes. "I'll be right there," he told her. I looked up. "The aisle is in half an hour. We'll postpone. We'll reschedule. Every gossip blog in Manhattan is outside. Cancel now and I become the laughingstock of the Eastern Seaboard." Theodore took an experimental drug trial just to stay alive long enough to give me away. He cut me off, frantic. "Luna tried to kill herself. She's coding in Kingston General. I have to go." I finally shattered. "If she's dying, what the hell is that to me?" He spun toward the exit. I grabbed his jacket one last time. "Don't." He peeled my hand away. "No time. Don't do this." Pain strangled my breath, my nails dug crescents into my palms. If you walk, stay gone. His stride hitched for a heartbeat, then he left me for her. I tilted my chin so the tears wouldn't fall, my chest an empty crater. This was the boy I'd loved, wrong address, wrong lifetime. My assistant's voice cracked. Do I tell the guests it's off? I wasn't afraid of scandal, I was afraid the shock would kill Theodore. I dropped my gaze to the marble floor. Fetch Julian. He sauntered in, leaning against the doorframe like sin in a tux. Calling me 5 minutes before showtime, naughty. Planning a quickie in the vestry? I finished the final stroke of my eyeliner. Not out of the question. He choked on his own smirk. I slapped the emergency contract my assistant had drafted onto the vanity. Stand in for the ceremony, the South Shore parcel is yours. Where's Adrian? Dead to me. He laughed, delighted. Music to my ears. We were evenly matched heirs, one icy perfectionist, one unrepentant renegade. Magnets flipped the wrong way since prep school. I'd run out of roads, he was the last bridge. We'd also slept together a handful of times, convenient memories. Everyone believed I was Adrian's forever doormat, the truth was more complicated. I lowered my lashes. 15 minutes. Find someone else if you're not game, I'm in. He flipped the contract shut. But no mock marriage. We signed the certificate before the honeymoon, done. A last-minute groom swap, and the ceremony rolled on amid gasping pro-clutchers. When the rings were about to slide on, the crosses finally snapped. Richard shot to his feet. This was supposed to be your wedding with Adrian. You can't just swap in another man. I laughed lightly. Then, Uncle, do you happen to know where Adrian is right now? I took the mic from the officiant. Adrian's mistress Luna tried to kill herself. He's somewhere over Pennsylvania on his way to Kingston. From this second on, he and I are nothing but strangers. A disloyal, filthy man like that? I, Serena, don't want him. Every cross in the chapel looked ready to vomit. Victoria actually fainted clean away. Overnight Adrian's reputation face-planted, and the family paid 7 figures to scrub the mess off the gossip blogs. I've never been some doormat, he showed no mercy, so neither will I. I'll make Luna realize certain circles aren't open admission, and the old money elite road is paved with broken stilettos. The next day the crosses issued a formal statement. Luna is a calculating homewrecker, she will never be acknowledged, and she'll cross that threshold only over their dead bodies. After we left the funeral on opposite sides of the aisle, Adrian didn't call for an entire month. Typical, every past fight ended with me crawling back. Too bad for him, this time I'm not turning around. I grabbed the keys to Vance Holdings the same afternoon and started building my own empire. I'd been his chief of staff for 4 years. I've stared down hostile boards and Senate subcommittees, so settling into the chairman's seat was almost boring. The cousins circling like vultures backed off the moment they remembered Julian's reputation for annihilating anyone who touches what's his. Life was finally trending upward when the internet exploded with a fresh headline, "Jilted trophy wife abandoned at altar." It painted me as the bitter cast-off, Adrian and Luna as star-crossed soulmates, and me as the cartoon villainess who tried to stand in their way. Traffic went through the roof, hashtags multiplied like fruit flies. Before I could even draft a cease and desist, Julian posted our marriage certificate on Instagram, plus a photo of me at 18 in my Eastbrook blazer. The woman I've loved for half my life, since when does Adrian get to dump her? One rock, 1,000 ripples, peaked Julian. I curved my lips, added the only couple's selfie we've ever taken, and captioned it, "I was blind for a while, fortunately the surgery was successful." The narrative flipped faster than a pageant queen's hair flip, and my phone lit up minutes later. Adrian calling. I declined. That night Buddy was throwing a birthday bash at the Velvet Room, and Julian swung by to collect me. Once we were in the back seat I studied the sharp line of his jaw and blinked slowly. "You've been pining for me all along, haven't you?" He choked on his own breath. "Anyway, you're my wife now." We walked into the VIP lounge and I spotted Adrian immediately, glowering in a corner, a black hole no socialite dared orbit. Julian flicked a warning glare at the host. The guy spread his hands. "I didn't invite him, gatecrasher." Julian's arm circled my waist as we approached. Adrian stood, eyes drilling into me. "Stop the theatrics and come home." I lifted my chin. "So you're volunteering to be the other man now?" "Serena, no need to shout, I'm not deaf." My voice iced over. "I'm married. Kindly remember your place and spare us the tired lines." Adrian snapped, stormed forward, and clamped my wrist, dragging me toward the exit. Did you fail kindergarten English? Julian seized my other arm, anchoring me. Adrian stared down at me, voice raw. A wedding, fine, I'll give you another one. Let go. The word dripped acid. I told you, crawl away, don't crawl back. Adrian, the internet has a saying, late-stage devotion is cheaper than grass. His face turned corpse pale. Serena, you better not regret this. He left alone, shoulders sagging. Julian massaged the red crescents on my wrist and muttered, man's a walking jinx. By morning the Velvet Room showdown was headline fodder. I never expected Luna would still dare come knocking. We met at the cafe outside Eastbrook's gates, the same spot where she used to study off one shared muffin. I arrived on time. Years had passed since I'd seen the scholarship girl who once glowed despite second-hand uniforms. Now she dripped Hermes, head-to-toe labels, yet something in her eyes looked starved. She smiled gently. You're still ridiculously beautiful. I sat, unimpressed. You, on the other hand, are underwhelming. I expected more. I meant it. The girl who clawed her way out on grit and SAT flashcards had spark. That resolve was why she became Adrian's first love who got away. He used to ramble about her feral energy, how she grew through concrete, so different from trust fund orchids like us. To him she was exotic, untouched. The one who got away always tastes sweeter. Their teenage almost love combusted the moment they met again. Luna's laugh was brittle. I've always envied you, pretty, loaded, everyone fawning, nothing out of reach. So you stole Adrian to level the field? I didn't steal. Her chin jerked. We liked each other first, long before you two dated. I wanted to gag. You were sexting him while I was still his girlfriend. That's vulgar. Color drained from her face. I know you still love him, but forcing it won't make it real. I flashed the rock on my left hand. My husband is hotter, richer, and loyal. Why would I sniff yesterday's trash? Keep me out of your circus. If you're so irresistible, make him marry you. I stood to leave. She lunged and clutched my sleeve. I can't lose him. Not my puppy, not my problem. Tears rimmed her lashes. You're still untouchable, and that distance makes him obsessed, guilty. You win without trying. I wondered which therapist she'd bypassed. Project much? Sounds like he's just cheap. She dropped to her knees with a hollow thud, fingers scrabbling at my hem. I was wrong. I shouldn't have hungered for what's yours or fought you for Adrian. I love him too much, please, forgive me. Before I could decide whether to laugh or call security, Adrian stormed in, hauling her upright. Don't kneel to her. You've done nothing wrong. I looked at their Romeo and Juliet routine and curled my lip. Flies love split fruit, the real fault lies with the greedy maggot who wants both slices. Adrian stepped in front of her like a shield, his face a conflicted mask of accusation. Serena, you're the one who wanted my love. I let out a short, mocking laugh. Sure, when I was young and stupid I liked you. But I've never been the kind of girl who can't live without a man. If you'd been honest with me sooner, do you really think I would have clung to you like some lovesick groupie? All these years you basked in my affection and my chase. You kept handing me hope, giving me just enough mixed signals to keep me hooked. Don't treat me like an idiot, Adrian. The sleazy one has always been you. His carefully polished mask cracked, and a flash of shame flickered in his eyes. Our families were always going to merge through marriage anyway. Then congratulations, you're finally free. I'm Julian's wife now. Adrian grabbed my wrist, unwilling to let go. We need to talk, really talk. Luna clutched her belly, looking pitiful. My stomach hurts, I gave a half smile. Adrian, don't be greedy. You already chose your true love, so stop fantasizing about the perks you'd get by marrying me. Born into old money dynasties and groomed since birth, how could any of us be fools? His plan had always been to have it both ways. I stood for profit, for equal pedigree, for the kind of wife who'd look perfect on his arm and could push his career even higher. Luna was the first love he kept hidden in the dark, his little soul made he could spoil, but nothing more. He'd simply banked on the fact that I loved him too much to walk away. Over the years I'd spoiled him and fed his delusions, so when news of Luna's emergency reached him, he dropped me without a second thought, certain he could coax me back later, sure I'd still be standing on the same spot, waiting. but I was tired of the game. Luna's short skirt couldn't hide the thin trickle of blood sliding down her thigh. Panic twisted her face. "It hurts, Adrian, it really hurts." He swept her into his arms, then glanced back at me. "Go get the car." I hated taking orders from her, but the bleeding wasn't normal, and a guess had already formed in my mind. To confirm it, I drove them to the hospital myself. The minute we arrived, she was rushed into the ER. An hour later, the doctor emerged, scolding, "She's over 2 months pregnant. The baby almost didn't make it. She has to be extremely careful at this stage." After he left, I gave a cold half-laugh. 2 months. That timing lines up perfectly with when Theodore was dying and you promised to marry me and treat me well. People who trample true feelings deserve to swallow 1,000 needles. "One day karma will bite you, Adrian." His expression was strange, no joy about the baby at all. He studied me for a moment, then said suddenly, "If you can't accept the child, I can end the pregnancy." Nice try, dumping the blame on me. I reminded him solemnly, "I no longer have a single cent of connection to you. Whether you keep the baby or not means nothing to me, so don't use me as your excuse." I didn't leave right away. I waited until Luna woke up. While Adrian was called off by the doctor, I repeated his words to her. Luna got emotional. "Impossible. You're lying, he would never reject our baby." "Believe what you want," I said flatly. "I told you only so you understand, keeping or losing this child is your business, not mine. Don't splash mud on my shoes." She clenched her fists, eyes swirling with mixed feelings. "I hope you'll stop seeing Adrian from now on. I want to give my child a whole family." A ridiculous demand, and I had no intention of indulging it. The Vance and Cross families have been friends for generations, we move in the same circles. Business will throw us together. Why should I dodge either of you? Get one thing straight, you two owe me, not the other way around. Still, she was only a pitiful woman. I gave her a pitying glance. Even without my help, her days would be rough. The Crosses were no pushovers. Pinning her hopes on a baby to open their door would probably shatter like glass. After that day, I blocked both of their numbers, yet gossip kept trickling in. Word of Luna's pregnancy reached the Cross mansion fast. Victoria stormed over, humiliating her outright. "Don't imagine a baby buys you a ticket inside. Even if you give birth, the Cross family will never acknowledge the child." As for Adrian, he didn't fight to the end for love, as everyone had expected. He didn't insist on marrying her. Best sighed while filling me in on the latest. "Luna's still too naive. In our world, how much is true love actually worth? How many grand passions end with the man marrying a pedigree equal to his once he's had his fun?" Brutal, but reality. I replied coolly, maybe she thought she was the exception, the one who'd make it to the finish line. Best chuckled. "Just wait, the drama's far from over. We can sit back and enjoy." Speaking of which, are you going to Victoria's gala birthday dinner? Of course. Skipping it would look like guilt. When the night arrived, I walked in on Julian's arm, dressed to kill. At the entrance, we spotted Luna in a white dress, stopped by security. "I'm Adrian's girlfriend," she pleaded. "Please let me in." I swept my gaze over her and moved on, brushing past Adrian as he hurried out. Inside, I handed Victoria the gift I'd personally selected. "Happy birthday, Mrs. Cross." She looked at me with regret in her eyes. "Not having you as my daughter-in-law will always be Adrian's loss." Luna, who'd trailed Adrian in, turned pale. She offered her own carefully wrapped present with both hands. "Ma'am, I don't accept gifts from just anyone." Victoria cut her off, refusing to even touch it. Luna withdrew the box, cheeks burning, barely holding back tears. In front of her, Victoria linked arms with me and told me warmly to eat, drink, and enjoy myself, then snapped at Adrian, "Stop dragging strays in here. Not everyone is welcome." I'd had enough. I rolled my eyes and led Julian away. Julian whispered smugly in my ear, "See? He's trash. I'm better, and I guarantee satisfaction day and night." I twisted his arm. "Keep it up, then, or I'll kick you to the curb." When the champagne had flowed for a couple of rounds, Julian was pulled into conversation. My feet aching in stilettos, I retreated to a corner sofa. "Serena, you betrayed me long ago, didn't you?" Adrian materialized like a ghost. I lifted my head and laughed. You think you have the right to question me? His eyes blazed. Half a year ago in Southport you were already tangled up with Julian, while you were busy in bed with Luna? Sorry, I didn't realize I was supposed to stay celibate for you. Back then I was with him on a business trip to the south side, burning up with fever stuck at 103, when a single call from Luna sent him sprinting to the airport in the middle of the night, leaving me behind. Julian showed up at my hotel out of nowhere, all bark and no bite, and nursed me through the worst of it. The space between us shrank overnight. That was the first time I sensed how he really felt. A week later, the fever finally broke. I opened Instagram and found Luna's not-so-subtle love brag post. She never mentioned Adrian by name, yet every line screamed, "While you were sick and alone, we were deliriously happy." That night I drank myself blind. Julian looked at me like I was hopeless. "Snap your fingers, any guy in this city would crawl over broken glass for you, you included?" 2 consenting adults, taking what we needed. The next morning I phoned Adrian and said it was over. He chalked it up to a tantrum and forgot about it. We spent 2 months in a cold war. Then Theodore crashed into the ICU and everything else blurred. As the monitors flatlined closer to zero, Vance Holdings started to list like a ship in a hurricane. He decided to hand me to the Cross family while he still could. Theodore squeezed my hand. "When I'm gone you'll inherit the company and every share of the estate. Every jackal in Connecticut will circle. I can't leave you unprotected." I stared at the floor. "Grandpa, I'll guard it, all of it." He sighed. "I don't want you carved hollow by the fight. Your old man and Richard Cross spilled blood together in Nam. He watched you grow up, he'll make sure nobody gets you." I stared at the ceiling until sunrise, then said yes to the marriage. Adrian hadn't expected me to accept so fast. "Did you ever love me at all?" "I did, once. Then you picked Luna over me again and again until there was nothing left to love." Silence swallowed the room. We looked at anything but each other. Luna rushed over, voice shrill. "What are you two doing?" "Talking," I said coolly. "Too many shocks in one night," Luna cracked. "Miss Vance, I know you're bitter, but you're married now. Stay away from Adrian." I let a thin smile graze my lips. "Trying to mark your territory? You're barking up the wrong X," she snapped. "I'm his girlfriend, please, just leave us alone." Hilarious, like I was the stage 5 clinger. I stood, took the glass of Barolo from the table, and poured it slowly over her head. "Feel cleaner now? Let's drop the delusion. Everyone here knows exactly who flung herself at a taken man. You fished my throwback out of the trash and crowned it Prince Charming. Sorry, not everyone suffers from the same tunnel vision." A ripple of laughter broke through the crowd. "Wow, want the tiara with that mattress tag still attached, girlfriend?" Funny, I don't recall anyone confirming that title. Plenty of wannabes floating around, each sure she'll be the one to cash in. The room was pure Eastbrook royalty, and I'd grown up in it. Within seconds a couple of my old boarding school crew stepped in on my behalf. Luna bit her lip, shaking, face the color of old parchment. Julian appeared, plucked the empty glass from my fingers. "Next time you need somebody drenched, let your husband handle the heavy lifting." Luna lashed at him. "Everybody knows Serena's always loved Adrian. You honestly don't mind being the rebound?" I arched a brow. "Nice try." Julian snorted. "Spare me the fairy tale rewrite. I've known her since we were 3. I know exactly who she is, you don't get to preach." I flicked my gaze to her belly. "Instead of obsessing over my marriage, worry about your kid, born into the world with love child stamped on the birth certificate." Luna couldn't take another hit, she spun away and ran through the whispers. I stared Adrian down, every word a hammer. "Listen up. I stopped loving you ages ago. Keep your girlfriend on a leash and both of you out of my life. And, thank you for the glorious favor of not marrying me." Adrian flinched, hand pressed to his chest as he stumbled back a step. Julian and I walked out, this time I didn't look back. After the gala, whether piqued by pride or plain spite, Adrian launched a savage assault on Vance Holdings. I barely kept us afloat, finally yanking away several of his marquee clients using the network I'd built while I was at his side. Those 4 years I'd swallowed vodka until my stomach lining bled, flown 3 continents in a week, pulled all-nighters that turned into all-weekers. Now the investment paid compound interest. He hadn't expected me to hit back so hard. Adrian retaliated like a madman. He glared at me like I'd murdered his last illusion. "Serena, I misread you. Wings fully spread, huh? Guess you learned plenty while you were mine. I shrugged. What did you think? I was volunteering or breastfeeding your ego? I walked into Cross Industries to learn, not to audition for First Lady of your fan club. Sure, the proximity had offered a shot at something more, but never the headline the blogs invented. I'd always known the only safety net worth trusting was the one I wove myself. If I'd stayed the pampered heiress, I'd never have survived the hurricane Theodore left behind. Adrian gave a bitter laugh. Turns out you never loved me, just sold a 3 out of 10 performance as a perfect 10. Fooled us all. Love doesn't require me to shred my spine. You proved, conclusively, that you weren't worth the discount. He looked hollowed out, turned, and walked away. Julian cracked his knuckles. Say the word, wife, let's tag team and bury him. I was still weighing the offer when Richard Cross, long retired, living in Normandy, landed unannounced at Teterboro. I made it to the Vance family mausoleum just as Adrian dropped to his knees in the gravel. Mr. Cross, what? Richard gave me the gentle smile he'd gifted me every Christmas of my childhood. Sorry I arrived too late, sweetheart. Then he swung his cane hard across Adrian's back. I warned you, pick a lane and stay in it. Only cowards cry foul after they crash the car. Adrian didn't bend, back ramrod straight. He snarled, she said she loved me, then knifed me in the ribs. Why am I the villain? His father's face sagged with disappointment. Love isn't a bottomless well, it dries up when the bucket keeps coming back poisoned. And what's left for a spoiled brat to deserve? You've competed with Julian since kindergarten, face it, son, you lost. Dad. Richard ignored him. Over supper he told me Theodore was gone but he was still here. If anyone ever tried to push me around again, all I had to do was call. Adrian, he said, would be dealt with. My job was simply to keep winning. I guess Theodore hadn't entirely misjudged me. Handing me to the Cross family had made some sense after all. Before long the Cross family announced that Adrian would be shipped overseas on business. Everyone in the industry knew it was exile for the former crown prince. There were other sons. If he couldn't measure up, someone else would. TSK, Best muttered. Booted abroad for a woman, he lost big time. I wasn't the least surprised. The heir the Crosses always banked on was the eldest son. He'd simply been so pampered people assumed the golden boy had it locked. For years as his assistant had showed me plainly, he had ambition, just never enough to outmaneuver that quietly lethal older brother. Best couldn't resist speculating. Think he'll drag Luna with him? If it's true love, of course he will. I bet no, another friend chimed in. Their so-called romance won't survive this mess. I shrugged. Who knows? Before Adrian left he asked to see me. I refused flat out. That evening he blocked my car on the drive home. Ms. Vance, should I go talk to him? The driver asked, uneasy. Ignore him. The driver eased the car to the curb so we wouldn't block traffic. The rain came down harder. Within minutes he was drenched. I watched coldly, unmoved. Let him taste what waiting feels like. After an hour he staggered, almost collapsing. You hate me that much? So much you won't even look at me? But I need to see you. I have to say something before I go. Ma'am, the storm's brutal, he could get sick, the driver murmured. Only then did I push the door open, umbrella in hand, and walk over. He was a soaked wreck, gaunt, haggard, nothing left of the cocky boy who used to own every room. Word was he'd tried to drink himself to death at the Velvet Room, winding up in the hospital with a stomach pump. Word was Luna had lost the baby, and the two of them screamed at each other until every trace of sweetness curdled. Real life, it turns out, hands out very few fairy tales. I didn't really want to see you, I said flatly. He gave a wan smile. You flipped the switch just like that, Serena, you're ruthless. Ruthless? I tucked windblown hair behind my ear. You're the one who took me for granted. He sighed, the words scraping out. I regret it, Serena. Some people are like oxygen. While they're around you barely notice them, but once they're gone you can't breathe, can't think, can't stop hurting. I wasn't incapable of love, I'd just forgotten how to cherish you. I assumed whenever I turned around you'd be right there waiting. I listened without pain, without thrill, only a faint amusement. Loss really is the great teacher, isn't it? I'm happy now. The light in his eyes died by degrees. He pulled me into a sad, fleeting hug, hot tears dripped onto my neck. I'm sorry. I stood motionless, watching him walk away, out of my life for good. Goodbye, forever. Adrian never made that flight. The night before departure, a hysterical Luna stabbed him, he bled out on the floor and slipped into a coma. Police dragged her away, she raved like a broken doll. When Adrian finally woke, he refused to press charges. Their twisted story ended right there. I ran into Luna months later at an art opening. She was reed thin in a plain cotton dress, staring at a canvas. I would have passed without a glance, but she called, "Serena, something you need?" She smiled uglier than a sob. I schemed with everything I had, and still lost it all. For once I was curious. I bought 2 coffees, and we sat outside while she talked. The first time I saw him I was hooked, someone that dazzling is hard not to love. I crept close, flashed my stubborn, small-town fighter side, reeled him in, then stepped back so he couldn't stop thinking about me. I stupidly believed if I worked hard enough I'd become someone who could stand beside him. But your world was too fast, too steep, I couldn't keep up. Our chance reunion? Staged. Every time he dropped you to run to me I felt triumphant. I told myself it meant he truly loved me. When your wedding invitation arrived I imploded. I couldn't lose him. She laughed at herself. I thought I'd won, that he'd chosen me over you. One misstep, then another, until I was in too deep to climb out. I listened, pity out of reach. Betting your whole life on a man is the biggest gamble, and the dumbest. You could have been brilliant on your own terms. The moment I saw you I felt small and green with envy, Luna whispered. When I finally stole Adrian, I was smug. I wanted more, your shine, your ease, your world. I couldn't relate, and I couldn't forgive. I only said, we all pay for our choices. She rubbed her flat stomach. My baby paid with her life for my youthful arrogance. I'll carry that debt until I die. Look forward, not back, I told her. I never liked her, but hatred? No. A man who can be stolen was never really yours. A crooked smile crossed her face. Losing to you isn't humiliating. You didn't lose to me. You lost to yourself. Love someone 3/10, keep the rest for you. Years fluttered by. The next time I saw Adrian he had a new girl on his arm, an heiress from another dynasty, perfect on paper. The Cross family approved. Long time no see, he offered. We exchanged polite, lukewarm pleasantries. Luna had vanished from Eastbrook years earlier. Word was she was doing okay in some Midwest city, just never dared speak of love again. All that fire and poison had long since settled into silt at the bottom of time. After the 3rd round of cocktails Julian rested his head on my shoulder like an overgrown retriever. Let's go home, wife. All right, let's go home. Thanks for listening to tonight's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up and share with friends. We'd love to read your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.